Most resellers are comping women's tops wrong, and the data proves it. Some brands are draining inventory at over 100% sell-through rate. However, it's not common in this category. What's more important is knowing the demand multipliers that will raise the sell-through rate within any brand. Today, I'm going to be showing you what you should be looking for in the thrift stores and how to apply demand multipliers to your listings. I want to start with Magnolia Pearl because it's the only brand I found that had a 100% sell-through rate at brand level. Magnolia Pearl doesn't have hype, it doesn't have trends, but it's clearing inventory at 114% sell-through rate. That tells you the buyer already knows what they want before they hit search. Let's take a look. So as you can see in pre-owned condition, there are currently 668 currently listed and 765 sold. I am in the tops category. This was just miscategorized. So my research showed that the average sale price, the approximate median sale price, is right around $200. Most of them are actually selling for between $100 and $150, but the median, so when you count down from both sides, is right at $200. As you can see, this curve continues high to as high as $600. Okay, so I filtered by ended recently so you can kind of get a glimpse of how often they're selling at the higher prices. Just a basic t-shirt here for $150. It just looks like something a high schooler could have done for art class. This blouse went for $355. Again, kind of looks like a doily. Very romantic. That's the tag you want to look for. And as you can see, like $250 for just a boho t-shirt sold for $115. Kimono went for $400. A lot of intentional distressing and patchwork. Patchwork's an excellent keyword to use. I would probably pick this up even if it was completely unbranded, but the price would be closer to $35 or $40. Again, the Magnolia Pearl, it will have Magnolia Pearl on it somewhere if it's true Magnolia Pearl. So what are you looking for in the thrift? You're looking for distressing. You're looking for boxy fits. And then this is the tag that you're looking for in the thrift. They have another tag that just says Magnolia Pearl, and it's more skinny, kind of like a Viore or a Lululemon type of tag, and it's written vertically. But typically you'll see either this one or that long skinny tag. What not to pick up in Magnolia Pearl? Honestly, I'm picking up most Magnolia Pearl I find, even without tags. Something that is Magnolia Pearl style. I'm not going to throw that in my title. However, just the style of Magnolia Pearl, these things are going to sell for $35 or $40 anyway. Maybe not a basic t-shirt. However, a blouse like this blouse is probably going to sell for $25 to $35 even without it being Magnolia Pearl. Same thing with like this one and this one, this one. Looking at some of these brands that sell incredibly well, you can kind of understand a style aesthetic that may sell well. So keep that in mind. That was solid, but this next one is the strongest signal on how to actually comp these brands. This isn't about one brand. This works on everything you'll find. Once you understand this, you'll stop guessing at the thrift store. The biggest mistake I see resellers making is searching too generically when they're comping their items. And this mistake is costing you money in two ways. You're either passing on good inventory because you think it won't sell, or you're buying garbage because you think it will. Let me show you exactly what I mean with Johnny Was. So Johnny Was is an excellent brand to be on the lookout for. I will pick it up even if you're not using the demand multipliers. It's just that this brand really shows you how demand multipliers really work. So Johnny Was, brand level within tops. There are 15,000 currently listed. I am sorted high to low to get the most accurate comps that I can get. 15,000 currently listed. 6,600 have sold in the last 90 days. That's roughly a 44% sell-through rate. So you think Johnny Was, you think, oh my goodness, this is gonna sell great. However, let's take a look. So this Johnny Was search, there's only 342 currently listed, and I have filtered by all of the plus sizes. So there's 342 currently listed Johnny Was plus size tops, and 404 have sold, moving that 44% sell-through rate up to 104% sell-through rate. The ASP also went way up. So the ASP 3,300, let's just do it this way. So the ASP for all sizes, Johnny Was, most of them are selling between $50 and $75. The actual median falls at $67 for Johnny Was. which is solid, and a 44% sell-through rate, $67. I'm picking that up for under 10 bucks all day long, maybe even up to 20 bucks. However, in the plus size graph here, we're at 40 to 150, and the 50 to 75 and the $75 to $100 range are a lot closer together, meaning a lot more of these are selling in that $75 to $100 range than are selling for the $50 to $75 range. And back here, you can see there's more selling for the $40 to $50 range and the $30 to $40 range than are selling for the $75 to $100 range. So the plus size moves Johnny Was from approximately 44% sell-through rate with a median sold price of $67, and if more basic pieces considerably lower, moves it up substantially to about $90 as the median, and much better chance of selling it for that higher dollar point. That's a $23 higher average sales price and nearly tripling the sell-through rate. Same brand, different demand multiplier. So what are demand multipliers? A demand multiplier is any factor that increases buyer urgency without increasing supply. This includes plus sizing, tall sizing, sometimes petite sizing, specific materials, premium lines, country of origin within certain brands, and vintage pieces, as well as silhouettes. And we'll get into that in a later video. Here's the exact process I use in the store. I start with brand. So let's just say Johnny Was floral. The one I'm holding is a 2X. We're down to 82 currently listed. We flip over to solds. There's 83 currently sold for Johnny Was floral in a size 2X. Now, how do I price from here? My favorite way to price, this is 100% sell-through rate, so I like to be at 80% of comps. Mine's pre-owned. So now we're at 61. Let's make sure we're still at 100%. And 35. So 35 listed, 61 sold. That's a 200% sell-through rate for Johnny Was floral size 2X, right? I cap mine at 80% of highest comps, but if you wanted to check median, you see we're currently at 60. There are 60 results per page. So I will come down. The median for this is about 64 plus 810. So what's that? $73. You could price it at 73 and get it sold pretty quick. However, with this sell-through rate, I would likely push it closer to here, and I would probably list mine right around $100. So when you're comping, make sure you're putting in way more than just the brand. Let me show you another demand multiplier that gets ignored far too frequently. Materials, specifically merino wool. There are a lot of brands that focus specifically on merino wool layering pieces that will typically end up in the women's tops section is where you'll find them in the women's section. And most of these brands sit at over 100% sell-through rate just for brand women's tops. Let's take a look at them. Smart wool, there's currently 152 listed, 286 sold. Smart Wool is a merino wool base layer brand. This is, by the way, pre-owned. So that's 152 listed, 286 sold. That's about 180% sell-through rate. The ASP, when I was looking at the median here, was roughly $40. You can get more. I wouldn't push it because this will take much longer to sell than if you're down here closer to where the ASP actually sits. The next brand within these merino wool base layer brands that you need to be on the lookout for is Icebreaker. There's currently 267 listed for Icebreaker with 164 sold, roughly a 65% sell-through rate with an ASP of about $36. And they look and feel very similar to Smart Wool. The next one I want to talk about is Ibex. There's 71 listed with 109 sold for 158% sell-through rate. The ASP was about $41. The next one here is Wool X, 37 listed, and this one's going to blow your mind. 177 sold for a 484% sell-through rate. So be on the lookout for Wool X. Just real quick, let's see if we can find a tag to look at. So there's this ram, and it says Wool X. I do believe this is the style name. And then size is pretty basic, 100% merino. These are all 100% merino, but 484% sell-through rate with an ASP of $52 means you really need to know this brand. And then this next one is even more mind-blowing than that. For the brand Unbound Merino, and I have actually found this brand multiple times. There are currently one listed, and it's a t-shirt listed at $57 plus 25 shipping. T-shirt, it's merino wool, but it's a t-shirt. One listed, guys, and 45 currently sold in women's tops with an ASP of about $65. That's a 4,500% sell-through rate. So these merino base layer brands, these merino brands that are known specifically for merino wool, you really need to be on the lookout for. Those are technical merino wool brands for travel, outdoor, minimalist wardrobes. Small production runs, cult followings, premium materials, and too many resellers walk right past them. These brands don't rely on fashion cycles, they rely on function. That's why the demand stays consistent. A lot of these brands have very minimal branding. Unbound Merino just says Unbound Merino. The thing you're looking for is merino wool. Some of them will tell you how many grams per square meter of merino wool is in the top. Icebreaker is one of the best that I've found that does this. You want to include that in your title if you can. You don't necessarily have to put the GSM. I don't think people search it, but just like they have it in their title here, body fit 200, and they will sell. Merino wool will feel soft and stretchy. It will not feel itchy, so it's not like Shetland wool. It's a performance wool meant for moisture wicking. If you see any of these technical merino brands in the store, pick them up. You don't want to miss out on this sell-through rate or the price you can get for them. These brands even sell damaged small holes here and there. Won't necessarily hurt the sell-through rate too much as long as you knock a few bucks off. These are very commonly being used for a very specific function, and as long as they're structurally sound, they'll sell. If you want the spreadsheet of the research for this video, it's free in my newsletter, The Flip Forecast. Link in the description. Ralph Lauren overall sits at a 20% sell-through rate with a $25 ASP. That looks terrible. This is where most resellers give up too early. But here's what matters. If you know the multipliers, a weak brand can become a strong brand. 99,000 listed, only 20,000 sold for that 20% sell-through rate. Now I'm sorted high to low, and you can see some of these things go for stupid high money. But by sorting by ended recently, now we're going to see much more reasonable prices. So most Ralph Lauren stuff is a 100% pass. Even if I'm paying $1, most of the time I'm passing on it. That said, Ralph Lauren can be an amazing brand to pick up. You've seen some of those prices from earlier. So let's go ahead and filter by Ralph Lauren Purple Label. Ralph Lauren Purple Label, there are currently 285 listed. And just for context, not all of these are actually Purple Label. That is not Purple Label. This is not Purple Label. And this one is not Purple Label. So be careful when you're comping. This one is also not Purple Label. So be careful when you're comping not to rely completely. This number is likely much lower with people adding Purple Label to their title, even though it's not something that is not Purple Label. So let's call it 200. Scroll down, filter to solds, 87 listed. So that brings that 20% sell-through rate up to a 45 or 50% sell-through rate for Purple Label. Once again, these are some lower price points. One, this was sold on auction. Probably shouldn't have done that. It is made in Italy, and I'm not entirely sure this is real, but regardless. So, Purple Label is where you can get some stupid high prices. Most Purple Label is made in Italy, and as you can see, true Purple Label stuff goes for really good money. That's a gorgeous top. This is a off-the-shoulder one-sleeve top, went for $600. And the ASP was what, $25 before? Now our ASP median is right around $135. So Ralph Lauren made in USA, minus a bunch of crap to try and get it out of the search. There's 90 solds and 486 listed. And once again, I think a lot of people are flooding these with stuff that's not actually made in USA or made in Italy, so keep that in mind. But still, it's a slightly higher sell-through rate than the 20% of regular Ralph Lauren. And now we can come down here and look at the ASP. And now our ASP is much higher, closer to that $65 mark. So what multipliers work on each brand? Well, it is brand specific. Certain brands have premium lines within them, such as Ralph Lauren has Purple Label, Black Label, Double RL. But premium lines within brands can be demand multipliers. I know there's brands that have runway lines that increase the velocity as well as the ASP significantly. Vintage pieces made from the 80s, 90s, Y2K. Y2K is a good one for right now, especially on brands like Hollister, Abercrombie, American Eagle. Some of those tops are selling for stupid crazy money. I just sold a Hollister sweater for $150 the other day. So that goes into both the silhouette as well as the vintage aspect of it. Made in USA, made in Italy, sometimes made in Peru. These are production locations that can increase the sell-through rate as well. Rare collaborations can increase sell-through rate. Premium materials on volume brands can also improve sell-through rate. Silk and Chico's can increase the sell-through rate considerably. Cashmere and J.Jill is considerably, as well as linen. Their Love Linen line is quite good. Eileen Fisher in excellent condition. Their linen, their upgraded material stuff is almost always a pickup. I pick up most Eileen Fisher anyway. I have a larger inventory. I'm okay with sitting on stuff. And sizing. Sizing's kind of the big one, actually. Plus size stuff almost always increases the sell-through rate. Unless it's a Y2K style, for whatever reason, those smaller sizes sell better. I think it's just because your target audience, you're trying to sell those to 15 to 25-year-olds. And a lot of these other higher dollar brands are targeted more towards mature audiences. And typically mature audiences are going to be up a little bit higher. Size large, size extra large, and then the plus sizes 1X, 2X, and whatever can exponentially increase sell-through rate like we've seen in Johnny Was from a 44% sell-through rate to 114% sell-through rate. Eileen Fisher, we just talked about it. Let's take a look. There's 29,000 currently listed for Eileen Fisher tops and 7,500 sold. So that's about a 25% sell-through rate for Eileen Fisher. Our ASP for Eileen Fisher, let's call the median ASP about $27. And now let's look at Eileen Fisher in upgraded materials. So Eileen Fisher with upgraded materials, there's 12,000 currently listed and 4,000 sold, getting us right at that 33% sell-through rate. So I'm going to say the median sold price for Eileen Fisher upgraded materials is pushing closer to $30, $35. So here's how to actually think when you're in the thrift store. I call this the sourcing matrix. High certainty brands are almost always buys. Magnolia Pearl, 114% sell-through rate, $200 ASP. I'm paying up $15, $20, maybe more for a Magnolia Pearl piece. Vuori, we didn't cover it yet in this video. Vuori has an 80% sell-through rate with a $36 ASP. I'm okay with paying up to $10, maybe $12, $15 for Vuori if it's in good condition. But Vuori is almost an instant pickup every time I see it at 80% sell-through rate. Another one that's high certainty for me is Johnny Was, even though I used it to kind of show that demand multiplier trick. Even though it's a 44% sell-through rate, that $67 ASP is enough to offset that enough for me to put it into the high certainty category. Medium certainty means that we need at least some multipliers. Medium certainty brands include Farm Rio. They're sitting at about a 35% sell-through rate. So I'm going to buy bold prints. I'm going to skip their super basic stuff. Anything that has upgraded materials, that type of stuff, newer tags, I might pick up more frequently. But it needs something to kind of boost it up a little bit or it's just going to sit. Saison's at a 47% sell-through rate. It kind of needs a little bit of a push. I'm probably not going to pick up an extra small basic from Saison, but a 1X Saison I'm picking up all day long. Zimmerman is another one that's got a 25% sell-through rate with an ASP of $120, so that brings that up. So even though it's got this low sell-through rate, the ASP is enough to make up for that lower sell-through rate. For lower certainty brands, your Ralph Lauren's, your Free People, your Chico's, Talbot's, J.Jill, Banana Republic, you name it. Most of the stuff you find in the thrift store is going to fall in the low certainty category. You need to look for redemption. It doesn't mean you're not picking it up. It means you need to find demand multipliers within the brand. Ralph Lauren Purple Label, Ralph Lauren Black Label, Ralph Lauren Double RL are all pickups. Ralph Lauren with upgraded materials and a plus size almost instantly pushes it up into the high certainty category. So the in-store decision process looks like this. You pick up the top and here's the mental checklist. Do I know the brand? Yes. check for multipliers. No, check for interior tags that may be able to indicate what the brand is. Also look for the material tag to verify if it's an upgraded material. Sometimes unbranded stuff with the right materials, the right demand multipliers, can still sell. What's the demand multiplier? Is it plus size? Is it tall size? Is it petite size? Is it merino wool, silk, cashmere, linen? Is it made in USA, Italy, Peru? Is it a premium line within the brand? Is it vintage? Is it in a trending silhouette? You need to comp specifically. Brand plus multiplier plus style, filter to the correct size, filter to the correct country of origin. Match your condition to the comps. Decision. Does the comp support the buy? Is the price low enough for ROI? Can I turn it over fast? Is the ASP high enough that I'm okay with sitting on it for 6 months to a year? This is what sell-through data actually teaches you. Not what's trendy, but where buyers already exist. If you start sourcing with demand instead of guessing, thrifting gets a lot easier. If any of this information will change how you source, or if you got any value out of this at all, hit subscribe.